Visiting a therapist?
It's not. I've still been very young in this.
All the examples on me.
Because stress in itself is not a mental health condition, but then stress can be a root cause of many other mental illnesses. So to curb the beginning of such illnesses, you need to treat your stress levels first and see and figure out what are the dangers of having more stress, what are the things that you would have come up because of stress, what you would have imbibed in yourself as a result of stress is also what is very important. Because has it been just to the level of stress? Because a lot of times people might be anxious, you might have developed an anxiety disorder, but you might think that it is just stress. And for any lay person, it is just stress management. It is not something that you deal with a mental illness. Like you might have generalized anxiety disorder, you might have social anxiety disorder, you might have so because of which you might have you might dread facing situations, you might dread giving presentations and all that. So why you do that is not just because you're not able to manage your stress, it is because you have developed an anxiety disorder as well. That is something only a psychologist can diagnose, a psychiatrist can diagnose. So not just diagnose, but also find out what could be the psychological issues behind that and how you could deal with it. The person might be having issues right from childhood. The person might be sexually abused. So the person might not allow any empowering person to dictate terms to that person, because that person might attach that being submissive to someone would mean that that person would have to give up sexually as well. So these are the things attached right from childhood, which could be hindering your growth, your performance at the corporate sector. So these are some of the things that we need to look into to find out what exactly is going through, what exactly is affecting that person. So when I say stress management, it just doesn't remain to stress management. It goes on beyond that. So that's where the job of the psychologist comes.
So in the worst case scenarios, this stress is evil here, is it? If not handled properly, it's an evil.
Yeah, you could say that.
And
that
you will be ending up doing suicide.
That is the minimum thing. Just because of stress, people don't commit suicide. It could just be something that the person is already having, because of which the person might already be have some mental illness which is undiagnosed, and one stressful situation could have triggered that person into committing suicide. So it could be that as well.
Just a spark which requires a person to take that step.
So you can't say that it is just because of stress. It is much beyond that, which people need to look into.
It's like something gifts come with stress, and it just bombards at the end of the day.
That's when you explode, when you can't control it anymore, you can't manage or cope with it anymore. You just explode into such things. Either you explode into aggression or self-harm. So a normal person would never want to harm oneself, isn't it? You or me wouldn't go, if I don't get a chocolate, I wouldn't go and cut myself, right? But a depressed person not getting a chocolate or an ice cream from someone, that itself could be a trigger for that person to go and commit suicide, to say that nobody cares for me, nobody really wants me in my life, they didn't even think about me when they had that ice cream, so I just took my life. It could be as simple as that. So the police department doesn't need to find out who is the victim, who didn't give ice cream to this person because of which this person committed suicide. Right? So that is how important psychotherapy is. That is how important awareness of mental illness is. Because if you are aware of it, you would know that you would need mental health, professional mental health counseling, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't even know that there is someone there. Because these days in the urban sector, in the rural sector, there is very little awareness about mental health, and people don't even know that they have to go. So that's where these sadhus and babas and astrologers all come in, because they feel a person is behaving in a particular way because this person is possessed. So so these days we know there is something called dissociative identity disorder, in which a male can speak in a female voice and stuff like that, because there are different personalities in that person. But then in olden days, what used to happen was they thought that person is possessed. This person is possessed. That's the reason this person is speaking in some other language or some other voice. And little do they have this awareness even today in the rural sector. And a lot of times in the urban sector as well, a lot of people still do believe in all these things. So that's where the importance of building awareness comes up.